Fox News alert. Fox News can confirm now that the U.S. has dropped a large bomb in eastern Afghanistan after a Green Beret was killed fighting ISIS there. Jennifer Griffin is at the Pentagon right now and has all the breaking details. This is breaking right now. Jennifer, what do we know?
Well, Sandra, this is not just a large bomb. It is the largest bomb in the Air Force arsenal. It's known as the Massive Ordnance Air Blast, MOAB, also called the mother of all bombs in common parlance by the Air Force. And we've just been able to confirm with the Pentagon that the U.S. Air Force in Afghanistan, in Nangarhar province, dropped this bomb, which is 21,000 pounds of ordnance. It's the first time that it has been used in combat. It dropped it in Nangarhar province, not far from where that Green Beret Special Forces soldier was killed on Saturday. He was killed in small arms fire as he was going against some ISIS targets in Afghanistan. Now we understand that this 21,000-pound bomb has been dropped not long ago. Again, it has never been used in combat before. It was developed by the Air Force in 2003. We started hearing about it at the start of the Iraq War. I remember it was often talked about in terms of a potential weapon to be used in the event that there were military strikes against Iran's nuclear program, because this is a very special kind of bomb that is a concussive weapon. It does not penetrate into the ground, but in fact, it is capable of destroying tunnels and a large surface area. So we're getting more details right now, but this has just occurred in Afghanistan as far as we know.
About that, Jennifer, the tunnels that you mentioned, what more can you tell us specifically about the area in which this large bomb was dropped?
Well, Nangarhar province is in eastern Afghanistan. It's along the Pakistan border, a very mountainous region. It is not clear how, what is baffling at this moment in time is how would one know that there were not civilians in that area, because this is a very mountainous area, and the bomb blast radius for a bomb that is 21,000 pounds. Just to give you some idea, Sandra, a Tomahawk missile has 1,000 pounds of warhead on it, explosive on board. And remember, 59 of those Tomahawks were fired into Syria. We saw the effects of those blasts. So it's really hard to imagine. I think we're getting a video right now of the Air Force test of the MOAB, the Massive Ordnance Air Blast. And you can see that it is a massive, massive blast. Clearly, this is designed to send a signal not only to those ISIS fighters in Afghanistan in the wake coming just days after that Green Beret was killed in that very same area, but also, given all that's going on around the world right now, and with the Pentagon anticipating that North Korea could carry out a sixth nuclear test in the coming days to mark the anniversary of the birthday of the North Korean leader's grandfather. Clearly, this is designed to send a signal to U.S. adversaries that the U.S. has quite a range of weapons in its arsenal, and to deter any kind of adventurism in the coming days.
Jennifer, Bill Hemmer, just looking at that map, this is a part of that country that this is Tora Bora, it's the Khyber Pass, it's the Haqqani network, which has been such a nuisance for so long. We would often think about this part of the country in the original War on Terror, late 2001. And al-Qaeda certainly, perhaps Osama bin Laden, using that part of the country to get out into Pakistan. But when you describe ISIS in Afghanistan now, do we believe that this transformation has happened entirely? Or is ISIS and al-Qaeda part of the same thing in that country?
Well, Bill, it's very difficult to separate the two. What we have seen in recent months and years is that there are those on the ground in Afghanistan who have started to pledge their loyalty to ISIS. But are they foreign fighters who came from Syria who are who belong to ISIS. Again, it's mostly that, as you see in these situations, when you have ungovernable territory, whether a certain group of fighters pledges allegiance to al-Qaeda or the Taliban or ISIS, usually they are looking for who appears to be on the winning team. And so there have been, we've heard from U.S. commanders that they've seen nascent beginnings of an ISIS network beginning in Afghanistan, and it is very clear that those Green Berets, those U.S. Special Forces that were on the ground operating in Nangarhar over the weekend, in which Staff Sergeant Mark de Alansar of Eglin Air Force Base, he was killed in that fighting over the weekend. And clearly this bomb, this very massive bomb, I will say, is designed to send a signal to ISIS and others as to the U.S. military capability.
They're trying to penetrate these caves and tunnels, and the only other way to access that is to go in hand-to-hand combat, literally. But the power and the force of this bomb, Jennifer, it could take the top of a mountain off with it.
Oh, I mean, this is the largest non-nuclear weapon in the U.S. arsenal.
Wow.
And so truly, this is not just a symbolic weapon, it is a very powerful weapon, and it is clearly, I mean, I don't have in front of me right now what the radius of such a bomb blast would be, but it is, this is a massive piece of ordnance. There's a reason that the Air Force refers to it as the mother of all bombs. And yes, it is the largest weapon in the Air Force arsenal short of a nuclear weapon.
Jennifer, it's Melissa Francis. Really quickly, I mean, put that in context for us. When's the last time in this region we've done something like this? So for our audience, you can think about how significant it is versus what we've been doing recently in the area, because it's a big deal, right?
Oh, it's a big deal. It's hard to really first of all, they've never done, the U.S. military has never done anything of this magnitude in Afghanistan. In fact, there have been a move in recent years away from combat operations. Remember, U.S. forces have basically been supporting Afghan forces as they fight house to house. They, in fact, limited airstrikes for many years because they didn't want civilian casualties, which can lead to the recruitment of more anti-American and anti-government forces. And so it is really somewhat head-scratching as to why such a massive bomb would be used at this moment in time, other than, of course, the fact that we know that in this area a Green Beret was killed on Saturday.
So, Jennifer, as we try to wrap our minds around this, you just said that this has never been used in Afghanistan. Has it ever been, I mean, this 21,000-pound bomb, I mean, it's really hard to conceptualize this.
Yes.
The first it's been used, it was tested back in 2003, you said.
Yes, it was tested in March of 2003. That's when we first learned about this weapon being part of the arsenal. Again, there was a lot, think of the context of the time. Saddam Hussein, the Iraqi invasion was just underway, and of course, there were concerns about Iran's nuclear program. But no, it has never been used in combat before, so this is the first time the U.S. has used it in combat.
Wow. And do we have any word from the White House yet, since we have learned of this?
No word from the White House and no word from the Defense Secretary here at the Pentagon. We have reached out. In fact, we're just scrambling now to speak to. Is
he there now, James Mattis? Jen?
He is. In fact, he's meeting right now with the Turkish Defense Minister. And again, you have to remember the geopolitical significance of what's going on in the world right now. You have Kim Jong-un on the eve of a very important anniversary in North Korea threatening to carry out a 6th nuclear test. He's been warned by China and the United States not to do so, but there is evidence that he is moving forward with that. There is very clear that this bomb in Afghanistan would send a signal to Kim Jong-un, as well as Bashar Assad. You have Bashar Assad on television from Syria today saying that the U.S. is concocting this story about chemical weapons in Syria. It is very clear that the use of this bomb at this time is not just to send a message to ISIS, but also to these rogue world leaders.
All right, Jennifer Griffin, live for us from the Pentagon with that breaking news. Thank you.